Welcome back to Salute to Education. I'm Dennis Morgino here with Dr. Randy Ward, County Superintendent of Schools, and we're talking about the new state budget, which does include a significant increase for education. Yippee.
Yes, yeah, we're very excited. Yeah.
But it also changes the way education's funded. Can you explain a little bit about what the difference is between the way schools and kids per student were funded before and the way they're going to be funded now?
Well, that's the part we're most excited about. You see, anyone that cares about equity and making sure students get what they need to reach the level where they can be productive citizens has to be excited about the new local control funding formula. So the way it operates now is that they basically changed the way they're going to distribute funding for schools. And they're going to distribute it according to need. So you have three basic levels. One is basic, and that's all students get. All students get a certain amount of money, and this year it's about $537 more, everybody.
Everybody, regardless of...
Regardless of socioeconomic status, language, etc. The second level is at supplemental. So supplemental is more money per student for foster care students, students of low income, and students who speak another language at home who are learning English. So that's second level. Third level is for those school districts that have a very high concentration of students, 55% and above. So those are the school districts that really were big winners in this funding formula.
Now that did not exist before?
That did not exist.
Secondary level of funding?
Secondary or third.
Okay, so that wasn't there. There was the
Second
base
level,
level,
third.
and then all these mandated special programs that got little pots of money.
So prior,
Right? Okay.
every district, if more money went into education,
Yeah.
every district got a percentage more.
Okay.
Even though they were originally receiving more money, they got a percentage of that money more.
Okay, so a high-income district, a low-income district, they all got the same.
And then they had these other tens and tens of pots of money that were restricted specifically for specific reasons. And it was very complex, very complicated. Some were given COLAs, cost of living adjustments. Others were not.
Some of these pots?
Some of these pots,
Okay.
these restricted pots. And literally, these pots were only to be spent on the students they were meant for, or the programs they were meant for. So you almost had to put tags on students' foreheads to know which ones could benefit by certain resources in our schools.
Like a special education kid?
Special ed, English language learner, Title I, socioeconomic.
Yeah, there was even school lunch program, that was one pot.
They
right?
have so many different
Okay.
programs that you could only spend for those students. And they would come in and audit you afterwards to make sure it was done that way.
Okay. So now it's simplified a bit.
One big pot.
One big pot.
One big pot, for the most part. There are a few smaller pots that are still left out, but the special ed being one of those, and which is also a federal program.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they took all of those resources, threw them in a big pot and said, you decide how you're going to spend it, but we want to make sure you still spend it for the benefit of those students who are specifically English language learners and low-income students.
So more local control, but a bigger slice of the pie to the more disadvantaged districts and students.
That's correct. Okay. And we've been asking for that flexibility for decades.
So you're pretty happy with Governor Brown's plan and the fact that he got it through the legislature pretty quickly?
I think it's major in terms of the implications for the future of K-12 public education, and for equity reasons, it's major.
Critics do say, though, that even with this new funding plan, we were in the hole for so long that even when it goes fully into effect, what do they say, 2020 or 2021, that we're still not going to be up to the national average of spending per student. Is that significant in your mind?
Well, I'm a believer that it's more how you spend the money versus how much you have to spend. But certainly when you spend it well and you have more, then you can do well. I mean, we can point to school districts all over the country, Washington, D.C., New Jersey school districts, et cetera, that are taken over, bankrupt,
Right.
academically and fiscally, but they got a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's really more about how you spend it to get the cost benefit of those dollars. But when you spend it well, it's great to have more of it. My county office of education is actually not benefiting from the LCFF because
From the new formula.
from the new formula. We were technically one of those county offices that were in the upper level of funding originally.
Stop doing such a good job.
So we, we're still totally behind it, but we're not benefiting from it.
You're totally behind it because it gives more money where it's needed.
Because it gives benefit to the larger community and to those students where it's needed.
What are you hearing from your district superintendents?
For the most part, they're very happy. Not so happy about the fact that they have to wait 8 years
For it to fully engage.
for it to fully engage. And remember the politics behind this. So it didn't go as easy as you kind of expressed. I mean, there were a lot of fighting. The more money we have in Sacramento, the more fighting there is. And so
I was just comparing it to the way it usually
the
goes.
way it usually, yes. Well, the fact that the budget passed on time has more to do with the fact that our public said the legislature doesn't get paid if it's not passed on time. And that's more to do with it than anything else. But, our superintendents are eager to have the chance to use the money as they deem fit. Also to use the money without having to have the complexities of audits and regulations and all those things that we used to constantly be aware of and were seen as obstacles.
Right. Dr. Randy Ward, thank you very much. We'll be right back.